Well, hi there, everyone, and welcome to my podcast, Love Letters to Pam, the Jack Church Show. And of course, you may also be watching via our YouTube channel, which of course is Traveling with Jack and Pam. Either way, we always appreciate you checking in. I hope you've had a good last week or so and continuing your progress and moving forward through your grief journey, whatever that grief journey may be. We all know that loss can be encompassing a lot of different things. Now, a lot of you watching, of course, is the loss of a spouse, much like me, losing my wife. But others, it's different types of losses. Parents, grandparents, children, just extended relatives, jobs, homes, pets. We can go up and down the list. There's a lot of loss out there that happens in our lives, and some hits harder than others. For those of us that have lost spouses, of course, it hits incredibly hard, and some of that loss may be through divorce as well. Some of it, too, I've actually heard from people who were on the brink of getting married, and they've had a fiance who stepped away and said, nope, I just can't go through with this. How heartbreaking that must be as well. And I've also heard stories of fiancés who wasn't a case of where they backed out of the service, but they actually passed away or something happened to them prior to getting married. How tragic that is as well. So again, there's a lot of loss out there. But of course, the key is, how are we reacting to that loss, and how in the world do we keep pushing forward? And that's the point of these messages that I continue to plow through from time to time. It was funny, I hadn't really planned to do a message on this particular day, but it was about, well, I can tell you, it's almost 9 o'clock at night here in my home, and it was kind of an odd day. I actually had what I think was a pretty good day, and I bet you can probably relate. It seemed like work kept me really busy, kind of hitting on all cylinders. I actually had my to-do list that I actually got through for the first time, it seems like in a year. I got through a to-do list for work items for the day. So I had that sense of accomplishment, and that felt good. And then I went out for lunch to a new place I wanted to try out. Some of you may know about it. Not the healthiest place in the world. And again, I try and stay on the health wagon, just as Pam and I always did. But I'd heard about this place called Portillo's of Chicago. It was here in the Scottsdale area. And Pam, of course, was born in Chicago. And I thought, well, I've got to honor her legacy and her memory. I got to go try Portillo's. So I did. And I had this, I forget what they call it, a Chicago sliced beef sandwich or whatever. And they dip it in this light gravy. I'm going to tell you, it did not disappoint. I forget what they say on Yelp. I thought it was really good. So, and when I left there, I was talking to Pam in the parking lot. I'm like, wow, Pam, I said, wish you could have been here to go to Portillo's. I mean, I remember your family had mentioned it before, how it was in Chicago and very popular. And doggone it, I finally made it to a Portillo's, but it was in Arizona. But you know what? It was really, really good. And it was one of those experiences, too, where, yeah, I was dining alone. That's generally how it goes. And but it felt fine because it was a busy place, lots of people there. Had a good vibe to it. And, you know, when you go to a place like that by yourself, it's kind of like, well, it's okay. And there were other people who were by themselves as well. And then a lot of couples and a few families here and there. But again, it was a good experience. Then I got back to work. My work is here in my home, a home office that is, and completed some more tasks at hand. And I had this one thing that came up that was really frustrating. I was having a lot of trouble with it. I couldn't get it done. I contacted a couple of my coworkers. It was in an edit program for a radio program that I do that's outside of this. And but they walked me through it, and I was able to fix the problem, and we were all good to go. And so I had a sense of accomplishment again, and that's a good thing. So as my day started to wind down, as I often do, or almost daily do, there's a mountain just down the street from me. I mean, it's a gorgeous mountain. You know, it's desert mountains, but it's still beautiful. It's about a 4-mile round trip. I go up the mountain, and then I come down the mountain. And it always feels so incredibly good to go up and down that mountain and just see what God's glory has provided. So I did that, went up it, I went down, and then I stopped by the store to pick up a couple of items to make dinner, and it was a really good dinner. Oh, and I needed to mention, when I was on the trail, I'm doing a little research for a project I call First Impressions, and we're going to talk about that in a later podcast sometime. It's taking me a little while to put it together, but it's amazing. People were so friendly and helpful. I had some survey questions that I wanted to ask them about marriage, divorce, single life, and widowhood. And I think it's going to prove to be kind of an interesting little study that I'm putting together. But the point being, as I stopped and I talked with people on the trail, it felt good just to have that interaction with people. And I tell you what, that is so important, to have some type of social interaction throughout the day. And this was all with total strangers. Okay, total strangers. I don't think I saw anybody today that I knew throughout the course of the day, but I still felt pretty good about the day because I had social interactions. And that brings up something they talked about recently. I saw a study, one of these post-pandemic studies they did on elderly people. And oh my goodness, the damage that was done among the elderly by keeping them shut in during the pandemic was just atrocious. The study was talking about, it was with a group that I've actually been doing a program with. They talked about that after 3 months, they started seeing alcohol abuse, drug abuse, depression. After just 3 months of isolation, this was elderly people who were isolated and shut off from the outside world. And the effects may be ongoing for them. And the point of this program today is we're not going to talk about the pandemic and get into those measures and things like that. But the point being how detrimental isolation can be. It is of note, though, in one of those studies, they actually surveyed almost 1,000 senior citizens and asked them if you had a choice between being isolated but staying away from contracting whatever type of disease, or if you could have remained social and out there and run the risk of getting a disease, which would you choose? It was astounding. 94.7% said they would rather have gotten the disease than to be isolated. Again, a further testament to the fact that we are meant to have contact with other people. And that's the reason I say that, yeah, I may not have this whole big group of friends here that I've had where we lived in other cities where Pam and I were. But the fact is, I get myself out there and I make connections and I talk to people and I meet people and I talk to complete strangers all the time. And I actually have a card about this podcast, and our YouTube channel has my email address on it. I hand it out to probably a dozen or so people every day. And I always tell them, hey, my email address is on there. If you ever want to do something, shoot me an email. Well, I've handed out hundreds. I've heard from virtually no one. They probably think, who is this crazy guy? But it makes me feel good having that interaction. So again, I know we've talked about this before, but it is so very, very important. Don't shut yourself off. Don't let fear keep you inside and keep you away from people, because the consequences can be incredibly detrimental. And that isolation, it can lead to other health factors as well. We've seen the studies. People do die of broken hearts. I know that. And we've all got broken hearts, but we can help ourselves by getting out there and exposing ourselves to different things and just having that interaction, that social interaction. Maybe even if you're an older person watching this and you're retired and you're thinking, well, I can't get out that much. I don't know. Get a part-time work-at-home job where you're talking to people on the telephone. They're always needing people to do that. Volunteer somewhere. Volunteer at a local food bank, a shelter. I do programs with them all the time, and they always need volunteers. Just do something to have some type of social interaction. Church, that's a whole nother story. I know it's very difficult. It's a tough place for me. But they do have outreach programs and such that you can get involved in. But just some ideas that I'm putting out there. Again, I'm not the expert. A lot of you will say, oh, I've tried that. I've done it. Didn't work for me. Point being, keep trying. That's what we have to do. Just keep trying. And that brings me to the other item I want to bring up. What rhymes with trying is crime. And we've mentioned this before, that oftentimes, especially men are hesitant about crying. And I've talked with men about this. And there are some women too who are like, well, I'm just going to get over it. I don't need to cry. But we all need to let our guard down and let our emotions, let them out, so to speak. It's funny, I was watching that TV show, Everybody Loves Raymond, the other night, and it was an episode where his wife, just cute as a button, as you all know, and Raymond found out that she was crying, and he didn't understand, and it upset him. And she says, well, I do it to make myself feel better. And he didn't understand that. And I'll admit, probably if you'd asked me 3 or 4 years ago about that, I would have said the same thing, because I can remember when Pam would cry, I'd do anything I could to keep her from crying. Well, I found out there's healing properties in those tears. And that's what happened to me tonight. how many of you talk to someone who is in your life, whether it be a spouse, a child, parent, grandparent? How many of you still talk to them? I'll raise my hand up. I do. I still talk to Pam nonstop. It beats just, my voice bouncing off the walls. In my head, I think I hear her talking to me, but that's just me making up conversation between the two of us. And it was funny tonight, there really wasn't much on. I read a couple of articles online and actually had a little travel newspaper here, and I was reading that. And so turned on the TV and the Andy Griffith Show was on. And we love the Andy Griffith Show. I mean, it's one of those shows that's been around 60 years, and it's timeless. You never get tired of it. And as the episode was going along, I started talking to Pam about, oh man, that Barney, what he's going to do now, or, oh, Andy saw that coming. And then all of a sudden it just hit me. A wave of grief came over me. I realized that she wasn't here on the couch with me to talk about the Andy Griffith Show. And I proceeded to get really sad. And I started thinking about it. And I started to cry, not a real heavy cry, but just, one of those boo-hoo-hoo moments. And then I thought I was okay. And then so I'm walking in the kitchen. I needed to clean up a couple of dishes. And I walked in there and I started talking to her saying, hey, that was a pretty good dinner I fixed tonight, wasn't it? And then boom, hit me again. And I started to cry. And then I started thinking about how people talk about if you're a Christian, and I've told you I'm a practicing Christian, and if you're not, that's your business. Everybody's got different faiths out there. But in the Christian faith, a lot of it talks about, that we're in constant contact with Jesus and with God, and that they hear us and they're always beside us, and we should be joyful because we're going to be with them eventually, and it's all good. Keep the happy face going. And it finally dawned on me, I don't cry about not seeing Jesus or seeing God, and I talk to them all the time through prayer and things like that. But I realized the difference was I met Pam in the flesh. She was here. She was with me. She went to bed with me at night. She got up with me in the morning. We attended high school functions together, college functions together. We were married together. We had children together. We moved all over the country together. So that relationship, when it was broken and severed and she went off to heaven, well, that was a little tougher to accept. So that's why I cry when I can't talk to her. And that may be why you cry when you can't see your loved ones, because we had not only the mental relationship, but we had the physical relationship. They were here. We could touch them. We could feel them. And when it comes to Jesus and God, we have, if you're a believer, we have what's called a personal relationship with Christ, but not in the physical sense. It's all faith-based. And sometimes though, in reading scriptures and Bible stories, you can be moved to tears and that, but it's kind of different. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but that's just kind of my take on it, and why we maybe cry after a loved one, while we may not necessarily cry about our God because of that physical relationship we've had. Now, of course, they talk about that the whole point that God sent Jesus to the earth was so that he could have all the feelings that man had and have a better understanding of it. And of course, they talk about, one of the shortest verses in the Bible is Jesus wept. So we know that he cried and that he had feelings, and he would get down and depressed when many of his followers and some of his disciples and such, who they may have passed away. So, he does get it. He gets us. He understands us. But I just wanted to put that out there for you, that crying's an okay thing. Now, it's not an okay thing if you cry from sun up to sundown. Okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. But if you need to cry, let it out. Whether you're a guy or a girl, it can help. That's it. Hope I helped you. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Keep subscribing to our channel, Traveling with Jack and Cam. Keep listening, Jack and Pam. Keep listening to the podcast, Love Letters to Pam, the Jack Church Show. We've got monthly contributors out there. Some of you have added contributions. Thank you very much on the podcast side. I apologize if you don't hear from me. My podcast provider doesn't give me a way to actually send you a thank you directly. I just see your name and your amount, and that's all I see. Doesn't give me an address, email address, anything like that. But please know I do appreciate it. Hey, as we always say, make it a great day. Better yet, make it a better tomorrow. Bye now.